Hey YouTube, Jim here. Welcome to Top 10 Archive. Music history is so deeply intertwined with human history that I really think neither would exist without the other. Sometimes it really is like what Oscar Wilde said, life imitates art, not the other way around. Ready to get nostalgic? Here are the top 10 iconic moments in music history. But before we get started, why not become an archivist today by clicking that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. If you end up enjoying this video, let us know by giving it a thumbs up. And in the comment section, tell us your most favorite moment in music history. Number 10. Bob Dylan Goes Electric. After ballads, folk music, and making it big in the music industry since 1961, Bob Dylan made headlines and changed the music world in 1965 at the Newport Folk Festival. He left romance and politics behind and got on stage reaching out for an electric guitar. Today, this might not seem very revolutionary, but back then it was so controversial that the artist was actually booed off the stage. Some say it was bad sound quality, but fans often say it was the electric guitar, that they felt betrayed, loving him for one sound and seeing him switch it up on them. Clearly, they got over it and everything worked out in the end. Number 9. The Beatles Go on The Ed Sullivan Show. The Beatles, like any other band, started real small, growing their fan base in the UK until their songs made it big on the radio and high on the charts, even still holding the record for the most #1 singles on the Billboard charts with 20. However, nothing said, "This is the band of the British invasion," until they touched down in JFK in 1964, watched by millions, and then appeared on The Ed Sullivan Show. On both occasions, fans were fainting, crying, and screaming for all three songs performed. It's estimated that 73 million Americans tuned in to that episode of the show, and you just can't beat those ratings. Number 8. The World Met the Moonwalk. On Motown 25, Yesterday, Today, Forever, Michael Jackson came on to perform Billie Jean. While the song and MJ himself were already crazy famous and well-loved, it was the 2-second moonwalk at the end of the song that blew the world away and turned it into an iconic move. Despite MJ being an amazing choreographer of his own performances, the move wasn't of his own creation. Originally, it was performed by Derek Cooley Jackson on Soul Train and Solid Gold. MJ's manager knocked on his door after seeing the move and taught him the backslide, indirectly sliding it, if you will, right into music history. Number 7. The launch of MTV. Before MTV, there was radio, and there was television. Despite radio having started stories that later inspired TV soaps, the influence had pretty much ended there, until MTV. With MTV, music now had its own channel on television, and though many thought nobody would want to watch music on television, they were dead wrong. In 1981, MTV launched with Video Killed the Radio Star by the Buggles, a total message if you're asking me. However, MTV had to think on their feet. The number of music videos was limited and their future was dwindling. They turned to R&B artists, played Michael Jackson and Prince videos, and soon created a phenomenon called I Want My MTV. Number 6. Nirvana's Unplugged. With this specific moment, it's not just the fact that the Unplugged is amazing, especially for ladies who drooled over Kurt Cobain. It's also that you can't help but wonder when watching it if he knew he wouldn't be around when it aired. Cobain killed himself not long before it came out, and the release of the Unplugged helped some people cope, remembering him for his talent instead. David Grohl later talked about the experience of performing on Unplugged, saying, "We'd seen other Unpluggeds and didn't like many of them because most bands would treat them like rock shows, play their hits like it was Madison Square Garden, except with acoustic guitars. They decided instead to perform like they were playing for a small coffee shop. They played covers by a variety of bands and artists, including David Bowie's The Man Who Sold the World. The band was even reportedly unhappy with Grohl's drum sound, which they changed to wire brushes and sizzle sticks. Despite all the setbacks, the reluctance, and everything else, they finished it, and it went down as one of the most iconic MTV Unplugged sessions. Number 5. Madonna performed Like a Virgin on the 1984 MTV Awards. Madonna was not your average 80s woman. She was extremely confident, beautiful, and stylish in ways many didn't dare. She inspired millions both artistically and in fashion with her lace, her chains, and her bright red lipstick. When she got on stage to sing everyone's favorite "Don't Sing Around Your Mother" song, Like a Virgin, many were moved and shocked to the point of taking action. Tipper Gore, Al Gore's wife especially. She thought parental advisories were necessary to keep children from seeing such things. While Tipper worked to achieve them, Madonna's fame grew exponentially. Now Madonna is worth $850 million, and Tipper achieved the legacy of the parental advisory labels. Win-win? You tell us. Number 4. Elvis does a hip thrust on the Milton Berle Show. Speaking of what was wildly inappropriate, let's talk about the day Elvis became a heartthrob in front of millions of viewers on the Milton Berle Show by shaking his hips and singing his heart out. For the first time, after 18 months of back-to-back concerts, he was on screen moving his Elvis pelvis around. Those who loved him thought he was a star. Those who were jealous of what he was bringing onto the screen thought his gyrating was an utter bore, that it affected his voice, and that it was inappropriate. Then again, haters will always have something to say, while those who are different laugh into their money pile of success. Number 3. Freddie Mercury performs at Live Aid. After Bohemian Rhapsody, the film, this performance is a clear, iconic moment in music history to more than just music buffs. Back when he was alive, Queen had a hard time getting kick-started, especially after Mercury performed in South Africa, the segregated, apartheid South Africa, and people started questioning his sexuality. Things got rocky there for a moment, until, that is, Live Aid. Queen headlined with U2, David Bowie, Elton John, Duran Duran, and Madonna, where 1.9 billion people tuned in to watch him, and it did not disappoint. Number 2. Tupac's death. The death of a famous music artist always shakes the world. From the deaths of Buddy Holly, Ritchie Valens, and the Big Bopper, which inspired Don McLean's American Pie song, to Jimi Hendrix, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, Kurt Cobain, Michael Jackson, Mac Miller, John Lennon, Lane Staley, the list goes on and on. But it was really a sad day for millions of people and an entire culture in music when Tupac died. His mother, a Black Panther, his early life in poetry and theater. He was cultured and super smart. He performed Shakespeare plays and was a talented writer. In 1996, he was shot to death in what still is believed to be due to the East Coast-West Coast rap rivalry. That didn't stop his legacy, though. Tupac is still very much a part of our culture to this very day. Number 1. Jimi Hendrix lights guitar on fire. If you were talented in 1967, you had to join the crowd. People were fed up with normalcy. They dressed down and got out into the streets to show what they had. So to be recognized, you had to be special. It's one thing to say about a musician that they destroyed that song while nodding to your friends. It's a whole other thing for the musician to actually destroy the instrument. It all happened because Hendrix cracked the axe of his guitar climbing back on stage, and he started the routine of destroying it against the ground. Then one day, he decided to get fancy with it. The experience was going to be playing Fire, their new song, at their shows, and a journalist, Park Astoria, suggested that they actually play to some fire. Some lighter fluid later, they lit a guitar. The flames were huge. In fact, Hendrix burned his hands, but it all worked out in the end. And just like that, one of the most iconic images during a live concert was born. Thanks for watching. Hey, why don't you strum on down to the comments section to share your iconic thoughts about these memorable music musings. And while you're at it, remember to subscribe, click the bell, and offer us your iconic thumbs up.